I'm going to die. This won't be a long one because, well, there isn't much to say. But remember, this is my final entry. Anything after this is not by me, so do not trust it. After making my post yesterday, I walked out of the cafe, trying my best not to stare at the officer. I didn't even look at him, in fact. I calmly got up, logged off, and paid the cashier. The whole time I could swear the officer was watching me, tracking my every move. My nerves screamed at me to run or to fight, but I forced myself to be calm. If he recognized me, he would have arrested me. Running away would only draw attention. It doesn't really matter now what I tell you, does it? I'm in Chicago. That's where the officer had told me to meet him. Someplace called Roof on the Wit. I stepped into the familiar sounds of thumping music that vibrated with my bones, casual laughter and half-dressed people, the usual bar. I spotted the officer seated on one of the chairs on the bar. I sat down next to him and he flinched, hand going under his shirt, presumably to take out some weapon. Whoa! It's me, man, come on! He squinted at me for a moment, then sighed. My bad. I'm a bit jumpy these days. I can't imagine why. Both of us froze for a moment and I felt like slapping myself. This wasn't a social visit, I was here to... The officer just gave a sharp bark of laughter. You have no idea. What followed was a 2-hour conversation. He spoke, I interjected, he explained. I spare you all the details. They were aliens. I've known that the entire time, I think. But hearing him say it made it real. I had no illusions to hide behind anymore. Pathetic as they may sound, I was dealing with beings not from my planet, or a being anyways. Phage. It was a simple arrangement. The government let Phage operate how she wished. As long as she gave authorities fair warning. Usually she got the people no one noticed missing. The ones no one cared about. The government couldn't stop Phage if they tried, and tried they had. This was at least a way that they got to control the situation somewhat. What did she get out of it? She tracked our behavior when exposed to different situations and collected psychological data, like we were rats in a goddamn maze. Then I told my tale. I was quick describing my experiences, my lapses, my strange behavior. By the end of it, he was standing up, moving away from me. Hey, what's up? He was looking at me with wide eyes as if staring at a wild animal. In the strobe light, he looked downright comedic, though there was nothing comedic about his expression. You're sure this is what happened? You woke up under the arch with no recollection of sleeping there, and woke up at the same time every time? And you had all your hair shaved off your body? Yeah, I don't see that so hard to believe, especially what after you just told me. Then you're compromised. I barely heard him over the pounding music. You were abducted and now you're done for. She has her device in you to track your mental activity and location. Bullshit! How can you just assume I was abducted? Think about it. Lost time? Someone messing with your body? Strange memories? Who told you Phage's name, huh? How could you possibly even know? I remember what Phage had said to me in that interrogation room. Nice to finally meet you when you're conscious, implying we'd had met before. It took all my willpower not to vomit right there on the floor. God, I'd been probed, messed with by aliens. What else did they do to me that I didn't remember? The brain is a marvel, really. I had known these facts, possessed the intelligence to draw the obvious conclusion, but I hadn't, not consciously at least. The truth would have broken me, and it had broken me. Still, he was wrong about one thing at least. She didn't have a tracker in me, though. I mumbled, not even able to look him in the eyes. I mean, I passed dozens of officers. They would have just arrested me if they knew who I was, yeah? What reason would they have to let... I trailed off as both of us reached the same conclusion. And then she was there, emerging from the dance floor like a leopard from the foliage. Yellow tank top, jean shorts, and the too stretched skin. Phage. "Really, I must thank you," she said to me in a voice that would belong to someone in a respirator. "Not only have you provided me with invaluable data, you have led me to a traitor." She put her arms around the officer as if they were old friends and jostled him a bit. All the color had drained from his face. With her arm casually draped around his shoulder, she suddenly darted her hand under his shirt and pulled out the gun he had been hiding under his shirt. Now, this is quite a dangerous toy," she said with a thin smile that hid her teeth. "In the movies, this is where I would run up and punch her in the face and free my savior like he'd saved me. I would knock the gun out of her hand and shoot her with it. The police would be freed of whatever trance she had them under, even when there was no trance, or maybe they'd finally see reason. Even though, for them, this was a reasonable arrangement. But this wasn't a movie. This was life. So, I just stood there, petrified in fear, as Phage had the man who had risked it all to help me under her control. I was a coward, plain and simple. Go. I can only gape at her. Go, she said again. Run along and I'll give you a head start. I'll come after you once I'm done with your friend here. She gave the officer a friendly squeeze around the shoulder. I knew she was just playing with me, or she wanted more data on my brain activity in a hopeless situation, but my brain knew only one thing: survival, a way out, and so I ran out, not knowing which one made me more uncomfortable. Phage's eyes full of hunger, or the officer's full of desperation and accusation. I'm done running now. It's been only 2 days of running, hiding and crying. Officers give me a little chase every time they see me, but don't follow me for too long. I'll get the knocks at my hotel door in the middle of the night, and I'd have to climb out the window. I'm a fucking mouse that a cat plays with before she kills it, but no longer. After I finish this, I'm done letting her play with me. Done giving her any data. They're closing in on me as I type this. I'll fight this time. Make them act. I'm done running. Turns out there's a little courage in this coward's heart after all. I think one thing she didn't expect were these stories. Her device doesn't read minds, otherwise she wouldn't have needed me to go to the bar to nab the officer, so she didn't know I was writing these. Not yet, at least. Remember, this is my last entry. Trust nothing else. Though I failed my friend, I hope I've done something important here. I've raised the alarm. If only one person believes me, then that's enough. It means that this was worth something. I hope.